Welcome to John Gillespie's Waters and Woods. Today is April the 4th and we're fishing for crappies in southeastern Wisconsin.
Fleet Farm presents John Gillespie's Waters and Woods. Fleet Farm, the ultimate fishing headquarters.
Folks, before we talk about what we're doing today, I got to remind folks to enter the Fleet Farm Fish with John Gillespie sweepstakes. Now, you can win a televised fishing trip for two with us. You can win a Minn Kota trolling motor or a $500 Fleet Farm gift card. And again, that's a televised fishing trip with us. How do they enter?
Yep, all you have to do is go to fleetfarm.com/sweepstakes or text fishing to 86516.
Okay, thanks, Blake. Hey, Matty B, come on back. We've got to talk about what we're doing. Yeah, Matt, today is April the 3rd or 4th, and this time of year, everybody's thinking walleyes, but you and I kind of start thinking crappies, right?
Yep, definitely, John. I walleye fished last week, but I was super excited to get in the boat and fish crappies.
Yeah, and you know, we live down in southeastern Wisconsin. We got a lot of Waukesha County lakes that have really good populations of crappies. We'll fish a couple of different lakes today. We're starting on Waukesha, but let's talk about where do you look for crappies in early April?
Yeah, my first thing is the shallower spots where there's still standing weeds.
Okay.
On these flats and anywhere from 3 to 8 feet of water. And then some of the super deep lakes, these fish can be in 10 to 12 feet of water too, over these weed beds out in the middle of bays.
Now, we got water temps 40 degrees. I mean, the water is still really cold. The ice just went out, 10, 20 days ago.
Yep.
So again, the north end of the lake usually warms up first. Is that correct?
Yeah, it typically does, but a big deal is which way is the wind blowing, because wherever the wind's blowing, it's going to blow warmer water.
Okay.
And a lot of times that'll trigger these fish that necessarily don't want to bite.
And when you find one, you're going to find more than one.
Oh yeah, they're definitely not by themselves.
All right. Hey, folks, we'll show what we're using and how we're using it. All of that coming up right after this.
Hey, muskie fishermen, the biggest muskie event of the year will take place April the 20th at the Fleet Farm store in Stevens Point. Listen to who will be there. Pete Mena, Rob Manthei, Steve Herbeck, I'll be there, and other muskie experts too. We have special sales on all muskie lures. We have some giveaways. You can get muskie rods and reels. As a matter of fact, if you buy a reel, we'll put line on it for you. Again, that's April 20th, the biggest muskie event of the year at the Fleet Farm store in Stevens Point. Be there.
Welcome back, folks. As we talked about, we're doing some crappie fishing on April the 4th in Waukesha County. And I'll tell you what, it's been many years since I bought crappie minnows. You know that?
I'll tell you what, John, you really don't need them.
No, plastics actually do outfish minnows, I would say 90% of the time. And you actually invented this bait, the Kalen's crappie scrub. And it's those little legs that dance in the water that drive them nuts, huh?
Yeah, John, those two little paddles back there just move really subtle. Best way to fish it is under a bobber, and just adjust the bobber above the crappie scrub based on the depth that you're fishing. And remember, these crappies don't sit on the bottom, they sit in the middle of the water column.
Exactly. A lot of times, like in 10 feet of water, they'll be 4 or 5 feet under the surface.
Correct.
So always say, you know, if you're in 10 feet of water, I like to set my bobber about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, 4 or 5, and most of the lakes in southeastern Wisconsin and all over Wisconsin, they're clear, so these fish see it and then they come and eat it.
Boy, we got some cold water, 40-degree water temps today. You think they'll be in this early?
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna be. We're gonna catch some.
Hey, there we go,
one.
Blake. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, that's a nice crappie.
Decent crappie. That's a nice fish there.
And under what I caught it on, the Kalen's crappie scrub.
Well, we talked about that at the top of the program, and you know it's so convenient now. That is actually a really nice crappie right there.
Yeah, it's a
Blake.
beauty.
What is that? About 10, 11? You think?
Yeah.
And that, folks, you know, we're going to talk a little bit more about conservation throughout the program.
Absolutely.
But this is a male, and that's the kind that you should actually keep that size.
Yeah,
right
it's a
there.
good eater. Yep.
And you can tell, you know, when you get the females, and we'll show those later, the ones with the eggs in them, those are the ones you should release.
Absolutely.
Hey, here we go, Matty B. I got one on now, buddy. And I casted to that exact same spot where Blake caught hers. Here it is. What do we got here? Yeah, another eater-sized crappie right there. But Matty B, what's so interesting about crappies this time of the year, and boy, are they cold to the touch. I mean, the water temp still around 40 degrees. But this time of the year, Matty B, they'll go into the warmest water possible and school up, huh?
Yeah, big thing with these first ice out crappies, John, is looking for the weeds. Anytime you can see weeds that are still standing, and it's a good spot where you probably caught them ice fishing.
Right.
Early ice and late ice, and that's where these fish are going to go. Is they're going to go to sand bottom and weeds that are still standing.
Yeah, and I want to mention too, folks, they don't have to be new green weeds. They'll use the old weeds from last year, right?
Absolutely. Any type of weed for sure.
Matty B was coaching you on that one, wasn't he?
You know what we call this? Combat fishing.
Well, what do we got there? That is,
It's a
now that,
teacher.
good to see those different year classes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, really? And, you know, that one did not take your bobber down. Your bobber kind of went on the side, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you got now?
Hey, long cast. He bit it right away.
Now, do these spook easy in this shallow water?
Yeah, in this clear water, shallow, John, you definitely want to back off them and not get right on top of them.
Let's see
Really
that
good
guy.
eater.
Nice eater right there, Matty B.
Yeah.
Now, the limits are still 25 in southern Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, to me, if you keep 8 or 10 of those and fry them up that night, it's much better than freezing a bunch of fish.
That's all you need. I personally don't like cleaning 25. It's too much work.
No, but I mean, you know, 10 is a good number. And like I said earlier, today's April the 4th. The whole month of April's pretty good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of good year classes in all these lakes, and if you take care of it and only take so many out of each year class every year, they're just going to keep growing and getting bigger, and fishing will be good every year.
Well, you are making long casts, aren't you?
Yeah, long cast.
It's one thing that we should mention too. You and I started using these rocket bobbers. Here he comes.
Oh, it's a bass.
Little bassaroo. But you and I started using these rocket bobbers, Matt, a couple of years ago. And what's really cool about them is the distance you can get with or against the wind, you know?
Yeah, these bobbers are amazing on how far you can cast them. And
we don't work for them or anything. I just think it's a great bobber.
oh yeah, no, I go to the store and buy them too, and it's an awesome setup with under the crappie scrub, because you can throw it so far, like you said, whether it's wind or not, and quickly adjust it.
Now, you got to do some fan casting, right, Blake? You know, cast around, and that was not where the last ones were caught. Here he is. That's not, whoa, darn it.
That was a nice fish.
That was a nice one.
Where'd you catch it? I want to get
Right straight out there.
All right. Combat fishing.
Now you're hooked up again, huh, buddy?
Threw it way up there. It's probably, I'm going to guess it's a bass, but if it's a crappie, I'll be real happy because it's pulling.
Oh, that's a nice crappie.
Yeah, it's nice.
You know, we're not getting any, so far I haven't seen a female yet, have you?
No, but these, this is a good year class of fish. I mean, look how thick they are.
And you know, Matt, you know, like we talked about, can you name a few lakes that you like in Waukesha County? I'll tell you a few that I like in Washington County.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, just about every Waukesha County lake is good. I mean, Oconomowoc, you got Pine, you have lower than the Neshoda lakes, you got the Nabobin lakes. I mean, there's just a lot of good ones.
I like Little Cedar near West Bend, Big Cedar near West Bend.
Yep.
Those are good lakes. What about some of those lakes that we bash fish in the fall? Where was that last year?
Delavan, Geneva got a good year class,
right.
and the Madison chain's really good. So, I mean, we're blessed with a lot of good lakes.
Now, I just got bit and missed them, and you got one on?
Yeah, hopefully, we had a little lull there, but hopefully some fresh fish on this nice day keep moving up, John. That's what happens in these nice days. All of a sudden, there's no fish, and all of a sudden they show up, snap of a finger.
Now, what we got to talk about too, Matt, is how you work that bait under a bobber. On a wavy day, you can just let it sit, right? Because it'll go up and down and give you that.
Yeah, right, exactly. But a lot of times what I like to do is just throw it out and just move it couple inches.
Right.
Let it sit. Move it a couple inches. Let it sit. The colder the water, the longer you let it sit for.
That's a good point. And if you got warmer water and they're real aggressive that day,
Steady retrieve.
steady
real
retrieve
slow.
or a pop and let it sit.
Or a hard pop. Let that jig and crappie scrub jump, and then it always comes back down. And yeah.
But on a windy day, really, you don't even have to move it. You know,
Nope,
that's what
they
the
come up and
waves
just
give it
suck
the
it down.
action. I love that. What do we got here, buddy?
It's a little one. Little
guy?
baby. But that was the very next cast, so that's fun.
Actually, let's see. I mean, that's not terrible, you know.
Oh, they're fun, especially when you go back to back.
Now, as April goes on, and do the fish actually get bigger as the females start coming in more?
Yeah, there's always a key window, and I say it could be like 4 to 6 days where it can be really good on all these lakes, and all those females come up and they eat right away, and then it can get tough again, and then you're kind of back to the males.
But you get a day or two of warm weather, warm sunny weather, man. You know, that it doesn't matter what day of the week you go, because 2 days of warm sun makes a big difference.
Oh, they come flocking.
It's now time to announce this week's winners of the Fleet Farm John Gillespie's Waters and Woods 2023 Fishing Contest.
Donnie Panur of Lauderdale Lakes caught this 41-inch northern on the Eagle's Nest flowage on a shiner. Jeff Dreher of West Bend caught this 27-inch burbot on Lake Winnebago. He was using a spoon. William Billy Gooddale of Cedar Rapids, Iowa caught this 21-inch peacock bass on Lake Ida on a shiner. Paul Coot Williams of Oshkosh caught this 15-inch perch on the Bay of Green Bay on a rip and wrap. And this week's kids winners are Andrew Washkosh of Apple Valley, Minnesota caught this 56-inch sturgeon on the Cedar River on a nightcrawler, and Brantley Grow of Sheboygan caught this 12-inch perch on Lake Winnebago on a rosy red. We were fishing the lakes of Waukesha County, a 1-hour drive from Milwaukee, 2 hours from Chicago, and 4.5 hours from Minneapolis. Hey folks, you want to have a heads up on fishing in the month of April in the Midwest? Tune in to Amsoil's YouTube channel. Pete Maida and John Gillespie will talk about all the areas and the techniques that you can use for the month of April in the Midwest.
I'm here with Sean at the Clam and Blackfish Gear headquarters in Rogers, Minnesota. And it's very important to have warm gear in the in-between seasons before you have to wear your heavy ice armor. And that's why we like the Storm Skin. But what makes the Storm Skin different from the soft shell?
The standard soft shell is bonded, where a Storm Skin is actually a two-piece garment. That allows it to not only be waterproof because we can seam tape it, but that allows for a more unrestricted feel when wearing it.
And it also comes in a bib, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome, and my dad and I love the Blackfish Storm Skin for sure. For more information, go to blackfishgear.com or Fleet Farm.
New Mega Live imaging shows you what's below in real time with edge-to-edge clarity and no gaps in coverage, all so you can turn must-watch detail into non-stop action. Only from Hummingbird.
You know, folks, with my buddies using leeches and crawlers all day, I'm glad I've got the Johnson Pump washdown kit. All I can do then is spray down the boat and get all that stuff out of there. But the Johnson Pump washdown kit has another use. It's 92 degrees and humid today. Now watch. I'll take care of my buddy Tom in the back. Ah, there we go, Tommy.
Holy smokes, does that feel good?
Oh, there we go, buddy.
92 and humid.
Oh, Johnson Pump washdown kit. What do you think of that, buddy?
I love it. I need one.
Yeah.
Can they put them on pontoon boats?
They're great for pontoon boats. There you go, buddy.
Wait until my wife sees that one. I'm going to get her too.
There, that felt good, Johnny.
You know what's kind of interesting, folks, is you are taking really long casts. And I'm going to ask you, let's see, here we go. We got ourselves.
That's a nice fish.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice
And again,
fish.
folks, you know,
Yeah, buddy.
we're real early in the season, and these are all males that
a nice
we're
fish.
catching today. But, okay, so we're taking really long casts here, right?
Yep.
Now, when do you decide to undo the spot lock and move in a little bit? Or do you try to stay this far out and make the long casts?
Yeah, I don't want to get on top of these fish fish. You want to make a longest cast as possible, and that's where a real thin braid will come into play, like a 10-pound, 8-pound cigar to the fluorocarbon, like 6-pound, and then with that braid you can snap it and use like a 7 or 7.5 foot rock, because then you can make a long cast with this rocket bobber.
And that's another thing that we should mention. You know, my regular line that I use is the Cigar Smackdown, and I just put 20 on all my reels.
Yep.
That way, all I have to do is change the leader material. For crappies, I run 6.
Yep.
In VizX, for walleyes, 8 or 10.
Yep.
You know, so
exactly.
You basically got line on there that'll last you all year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, you were quiet there for a little while.
I know, but I casted right where Matty B did.
Well, what do we call that?
Combat fishing.
Combat fishing. Let's see what you got here, Blake.
Oh,
Got a little male. But no, that's loud when you're crappie fishing the combat fishing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, even though these aren't the biggest, they're super fun to catch.
Well, when you've been ice fishing all year and the weather's been miserable, even though it's only 50 degrees today, it's, you know,
absolutely,
like you say, fun to get out in a boat.
Very nice to be on a boat, not on the ice. This one's
2 in a row.
Yeah.
2 in a row.
This one's staying down, guys.
Let's see.
It's a scrapper, Blake.
Yeah, that's a nice one, Blake.
Next cast. Oh man, this is a lot of fun, and like you were saying, these crappie scrubs beat a minnow any day.
So are you giving yours any action?
Oh yeah, a couple pops, but you know, with this cold water, you want to keep it still as well. This seems heavy, Dad.
Well, you know, we are catching some bass too. No, it's a crappie, Blake.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, it's a nice crappie.
Atta girl.
Oh,
ooh, nice one.
Yeah. Now they get any bigger than that. One thing we should talk about too, Blake, is they have the paper mouth, so it's a good idea to net them when you get bigger ones.
absolutely. That is definitely for sure. That was a fun fight. He stayed down.
The bobber go down pretty good?
Yep. Yeah.
I haven't had a bite in a while here, and here we go. Now there's a little guy, but I want to, Matty B, look at how he ate that crappie scrub.
Oh, did he choke it?
No, that is interesting. And, you know, again, the convenience of fishing a crappie scrub, when crappies are really biting, every time you catch a fish, you're fishing live bait, you got to dig your hand in the minnow bucket, put another minnow on.
Oh,
the scrub, man, I'm back out there in a
You're
second.
so much more productive and efficient.
And you know, we talk about the crappie scrub all the time because we think it's the best bait. But there's a number of plastics out there, and you can even try a little spoon on a bobber with a steady retrieve with a split shot in front of it.
Oh yeah, that works too.
Oh, we had a little bit of rain move through it.
Yeah.
Now the rain stopped and the fish started biting again.
Oh, this one's.
That's a real nice size
This
male.
has some weight to it too.
Yeah, about 10, 11 inches long.
Yeah, beautiful fish.
And the bite, we should say, they're not real aggressive in the last half hour, are they?
No, yeah, the very, very subtle bites, but you know, this is a pretty decent fish.
Yeah, does the bobber start moving or?
Yep, and then you just feel some weight and you set the hook.
Yeah, no, that's a nice eater right there.
Thank you.
This is so unusual the way these fish are biting right now. You know, this morning they were taking that bobber down pretty good. That's a decent one. That's a nice one right there.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah, that's a nice crappie, folks.
Oh yeah.
But this morning, you know, they were hitting it pretty hard. Now the bobber just kind of goes on its side.
Yeah.
Or just moves a little bit. You really got to be.
Well, you got to keep your line tight.
Yeah,
so
right,
you can feel that because they might not pull that bobber down, but they're coming up and mouthing it, so you can get a hook in them if you keep the line tight. John bombed that cast, twitched it once, kapow.
So way back in.
Way back. That fish was slid way up in like 2 foot of water.
Yeah, well, we're fishing a bay on the north end of the lake. Here he comes. And,
nice.
Yeah, nice one. But so they can go as shallow as 1 foot this time of year, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially on certain parts where you're going to have dark bottom, that's going to warm up faster. So those fish will seek that out, whether it's a 1-2 feet of water or if it's 5-6 feet of water.
Now, if the folks are wondering why we're catching mostly smaller crappies today, the males come in first, and that's what we're catching.
Yeah, I mean, there was ice on this lake 6 days ago.
Okay,
and
so
some chunks even like 2 days ago.
So we get 3 or 4 70-degree days with sun. The females will come in, and you'll get a lot bigger fish.
Yeah, I think just we haven't had a lot of sun the last couple weeks in March. I think the middle of April it's going to be really good.
Meet Chris McGillis of McGillis Weimer, experienced personal injury lawyers.
You know, they come in and what we do is we want to hear their story. We want to make sure they're okay. We want to give them guidance. A lot of times we call it quarterbacking their case, right? Help them put themselves in a position where they can get the best medical treatment, they're taken care of. What we want to do is make sure that the only thing they have to worry about, John, is getting better, right? We focus on everything else.
Well, I'm here at the Amsoil Mechanical Lab with my buddy Len Groom. And Len, everybody knows me for fishing, but I actually have to do other work too. I gotta mow the lawn, I gotta weed whip, chainsaws, rototillers, all these different things. And I've been using Sabre for years for two-stroke. What I've always liked about it is that it's one mix. But tell me more about it. Why is it cleaner? Why is it better?
We have package sizes, no matter what size gas can you want to mix. But your main thing with you is you have so little time that you want the equipment to work. You need it to run when you have to go and cut the grass, as much as we all hate doing that. We do a lot of testing on Sabre, as you can see. One of the things that we've found is key is cleanliness. So we build that into the product. We test it to be sure that the pistons, the combustion chambers aren't going to gum up, and that the product is going to run in the limited time when you need it to work.
So if you want to get back to fishing like me, check this out at amsoil.com.
Easter is right around the corner, and every year we have a huge brunch on Easter Sunday with lots of delicious food. But my favorite is the Johnsonville maple syrup sausage links. They're made with 100% premium pork and real Vermont maple syrup. They are delicious. All you have to do is cook them on low to medium heat for about 12 minutes, and you really can smell that maple syrup. Dad, you want to try?
Ooh, I smelled those all the way upstairs. I gotta try that.
Do you taste that Vermont maple syrup?
That is really fabulous.
Can I have some?
Every Easter, I love that, folks.
Yes.
Look for the maple flavored sausage links.
At your favorite retailer today.
Boy, is that good. You're getting hot up there in the front of the boat, buddy.
Letting it dead sit, John. Literally, I think I let it sit for like 15, 20 seconds.
So a couple of pops and then let her sit.
And then I pulled back.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I just pulled back real slow and felt the weight. And look at that, fish choked it.
Yeah, so seriously, let it sit.
Let it sit on these tough, cold days.
Again, we go back to, if you get the 3 or 4 warm days in a row, the bite's entirely different.
It is. It really is. Don't let it sit. Be patient. A real little pull and get these little double paddle tails in this crappie scrub moving a little bit real slow.
And then cast out and show us what you're doing.
Just let it sit.
So basically, you cast out, you let it sit for a second, right?
Let it sit because I'm fishing a 1/32, the little wire keeper, Kalen's wire keeper jig. So that 30-second with that plastic will fall slow. So now it's under the bobber right now. So I want to reel. I'm just pulling back. I'm pulling the rod tip about 8 to 10 inches, and that bait just moved a little bit like that, and then it kind of settles back down. And when it moves, that attracts them. And then when it settles back down underneath the bobber vertical, that's when they're hitting it.
So they're basically hitting it on the paws.
Yes, as soon as it stops and settles back vertical underneath the bobber, boom, they're hitting it. So you got to keep a tight line the whole time.
Well, I did Matty B's retrieve there, and I got myself, now there is a teensy crappie. But the point is, I did what you said. Just pull that bobber a little bit and let it sit. And that one hit on the paws. Now, Blake, what do you think of that one there?
I wouldn't say that's a jumbo.
No, Jim Dandy, right?
Oh, we got doublers.
Doublers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, Matty B. There's our first female of the day.
That's what we call a dinner plate.
Now hold those together, you guys. And Blake's is about 7-8 inches long, and yours is a solid 12, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
the biggest of the day.
Fish right there.
And again, I want to repeat, folks, normally that's the size that we're catching out here too, Matt, the one you just had, right?
Yeah, and all these lakes around here, they got good ones, John.
Breaking news from Fleet Farm. Check out this deal. The Kalen's Google Eye Hair Jig is on sale for $3.99. The Kalen's Google Eye Hair Jig on sale for $3.99.
Got a little bit of rain going here.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one in the rain, John.
Yeah, a little droplet.
Them in the
that's
rain.
A nice crappie right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
There you go, buddy.
I like catching them in the rain.
One thing I do want to talk about, and I was going to come up with you there and talk about this, but this time of the year, you don't know what the weather is going to be, and you got that blackfish, that storm skin pant deal on. Those are awesome for cold weather or cool weather.
Yeah, and they're lightweight too, so it's nice. I mean, if it gets warm, 50-degree day, keep them on, rains all day.
Yeah, Matt, and I've got this storm skin waterproof jacket on. Take a look at this beautiful fleece lining in here, and you stay dry and you stay warm, and you never know when you're fishing in the spring or fall in Wisconsin if it's going to be 40 or 80 degrees. That's why I love the Blackfish storm skin. I think that's a bass.
Oh, it is a bass.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's a bass.
Well, it is amazing though how those bass come in, and you said the water temp's around 42 degrees, huh? So
42.
As soon as the ice goes out, these fish start looking for the warmer water.
Oh yeah, they're cold to the touch.
You know, we got a rainstorm coming in, buddy, and I said, you know, let's catch a few more before we call it. And you come through. Now there is a giant
I think
crappie.
that's like 5th generation today. I'm gonna go 5th generation. We've seen 5-year classes at least today.
You know, and again, you know, you want to talk a little bit about conserving on these crappies, because April and May is when they're most vulnerable. And, you know, guys can come out, you know, and catch 40, 50 fish a day, but practice the conservation. And I really urge people to do that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I agree 100%. Keep what you're gonna eat, let them go. I mean, we're letting every single one go today. We just enjoy fishing and teaching, and but yeah, there's no point in over harvesting because our lakes aren't that big.
No, when you catch a 12, 13-inch crappie, that's a 10, 12-year-old fish.
Oh yeah, that's a great spawner. Let that one go and keep those 8, 9, 10 inchers.
Hey, way to go!
Yeah.
Coax that one in the bite.
No, don't lose him. Don't lose him.
Nice.
That is a dandy. Hold him the right way. That is a beautiful fish.
That's a slab.
That is a nice one.
That's a donkey, as Matty B would say.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, these are giants, but I mean, that's 11, 12-inch crappie, and that's a beautiful fish anywhere you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, they are cold to the touch.
I was going to ask you, buddy, does time of day make, I think midday with the sun is the best time of day for crappies.
Yeah, in the springtime for any species of fish, you get a couple extra degrees, warmer surface temp, that top couple feet in the water column, and it seems to give those fish a little extra spunk.
If you are a spring walleye fisherman, grab some of these. They're an incredible bait. Kalins, rattling Google Eye, hair jigs. Right there, Ryan. Ooh, that one pounded it. Wow, dude, that is my first cast. Beautiful walleye right there on the hair, man. Perky, lively, smacking hair jigs. Doesn't get much better, does it? Big, fat, chunky spring walleyes.
Oh, Pete, I'm getting too old for this. So, John, you haven't heard of Brian's Custom Steps?
Oh, Pete, those are awesome. How can I get a set?
Yeah, I love these big no-slip platforms, and they're made right here in Wisconsin.
For more information on Brian's Custom Steps, call 920-315-0333.
You know, Matt, it was great to be back in the boat again, and you think that crappie fishing is going to be good throughout all of April, right?
Yeah, it'll be good the whole month, but right at ice out, I mean, I love crappies right at ice out, but yes, all April into May, and then don't forget about the bluegills right after that.
Yeah, thanks, Matty B. And folks, again, remember to enter the Fleet Farm John Gillespie's Waters and Woods sweepstakes. You can win a 2-day televised fishing trip for 2 with us. And folks, that is our show for today. Please join us next week. I don't know, we're going to fish yet. We'll find a place somewhere. Until then, I'm John Gillespie, hoping to see you enjoying John Gillespie's Waters and Woods.